Love, peace, and blessings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the What Podcast. You know it by now: wellness, healthcare, advocacy, and transparency. Brought to you by the FAMU College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences Institute of Public Health here at the main campus in Tallahassee. We refer to as the FAMU COPS IPH, and we have one of our very own today. That's right, he's bringing it from the day back in the day when it was the pharmacy program, and now fast forward, he's going to tell us what life has been like since those days on the highest of seven hills. Please join us today, viewing and listening audience, to welcome our very own Robert Stan Loomis to this episode of the What Podcast. Good morning, Stan, and welcome.
Good morning, Ola. I look forward to this, and I hope I can answer all your questions or give you a little bit of insight and your listeners.
Thank you so kindly. And we're just delighted because not only are you going to tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since graduation in 1977, I know we still look good, we just moving forward, but you and your wife, Mrs. Naomi Loomis, how y'all have been very impactful with the area of pharmacy education and healthcare. So we're going to just start at the beginning. What first drew you to the field of pharmacy, please?
Well, I think it was opportunity. In pharmacy, you have a lot of opportunity to go a lot of directions. You have stability. And I think most of all, you have job diversity within the realm of being a pharmacist. You can work almost anywhere. So that was at my early stage in life. And I think that's still true today.
Got you. Would you be able to define maybe one moment or several moments, perhaps, as it relates from your time that you stepped on the highest of seven hills here at FAMU that helped shape your career in terms of where it is today, please, sir?
Well, it's funny you should ask that, because it's what really shaped me or turned me in the right direction was when I was accepted at FAMU School of Pharmacy. That gave me focus. That gave me direction. And as young students know today, once you reach that point, then you know where you're heading. Up to then, it's a little iffy. So that's kind of the turning point for me.
Got you. Well, definitely you've been turning points ever since then, and one has to do with your coming back to the highest of seven hills. And listen, audience, this is not his first time. He and his wife have been back before. They've been part of a class here, with our jurisprudence and ethics with Dr. Ryan Johnson. But you're looking forward now, I believe, during this fall semester to come back to be honored, to be inducted into the Gallery of Distinction. What does that mean for you here, personally and professionally, please?
Well, being recognized by FAMU, where it all started, it's what makes it one of the most rewarding and meaningful acknowledgments I have experienced in my 50 years as being a pharmacist. And I am humbled by the opportunity. I've always loved FAMU. They were good to me at the beginning, and they're good to me at the end, and they're good to me during it. I know some professors, and not real well, but I'm always on the outskirts of things, very much aware. I work with a lot of FAMU pharmacists over the years, and it makes me proud to be a part. Thank you.
Indeed, you should be. And I'm just mindful, like the humble shall taste of God's grace. So, I'm just going to interject that because clearly this has made room for you and your many achievements. And so as you reflect on your coming back for this, there'll be family, there'll be friends, other alumni. The classes are beginning to get revved up as we're right now in new learner orientation. And so when you reflect on your career, again, almost 50 years now, what do you think maybe is contributing to receiving this recognition? Because please know, we've not done this since 2016.
Oh, really? So, the when I reflect back, let me see.
I know there are a lot of reflections that could go on, but again, when you think about that, why do you think you've been singled out, if you will, for this distinction?
Well, I think it's for my achievements in pharmacy and my contribution to the profession of pharmacy. I've gone a lot further than just be my own man. I've been a part of things, understand what pharmacy is doing, where it's going, help the young people to get started. That's my biggest passion, is with the young new students starting out and things like that. In fact, I hire quite a few of them, and I like nurturing them, helping them to get over some of the obstacles I had, so maybe help them to avoid those obstacles and to move forward in a positive way that fits their personality, that fits who they want to be, and gives them that quality of life that they're looking for. Often they don't know that. I guess none of us do at an early age, but I'd like to help them know that in general right away. Where are they going? What means success to them? Is it, because it's so diverse. I had said that once before. There's so many opportunities that you can turn any direction, and that's where I'm a good resource. You come to me, and I can tell you all those directions you could go off into a pharmacy as being a retail, hospital, administration, research. It goes on and on and on. And I've done a lot of those things. At the same time, kept my focus on what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go. You do have to adjust to the times and technology. And that's a part of it. Be aware of the people around you, burn no bridges.
Sounds like you're very sensitive to the climate of the ever-evolving landscape, if you will, of pharmacy and public health even. And in that regard, I don't think it's just happenstance that you and your wife will be here along with others from the Olympics, I want to say, but from Olympia Pharmaceuticals, and as well as your newly founded company in terms of, I believe it's West. It's West. I know it has to do with West.
Wesley Pharmaceuticals, yeah.
Thank you, Wesley Pharmaceutical. But you're speaking to the white coat ceremony learners, the ones that have come this far by faith. And so, to whom much is given, much is required. Stan, what do you plan to tell them during that ceremony, please, where their families and friends will be in attendance at the Florida Blue Auditorium here?
Well, I want to speak to this is the mark of where they're off into their pharmacist career. It sounds very simple at first, but that support structure behind them is a very big deal. It's important that you have that structure. It's important that you develop relationships as you build your pharmacy career. Right now, it's kind of the white coat is kind of a mark of where you're starting from. This is it. Now you're going to be a pharmacist. Some will want to go further. Some maybe want to stay right there and go off into the different opportunities that they have. But for the most part, everybody's starting just like I started. And I'm here to show you that you can go a long way.
Evidently and truly, you've just shared with us what the symbolism is behind this auspicious occasion, both your induction as well as the white coat ceremony. But if you could just leave just one piece of advice with these young ears that will be tuned in, getting ready for classes this fall semester, what they're really stepping into at this juncture, what might that one piece of advice be, you believe?
It's hard to put it in one word, but I'll put it to you the best I can. We're all uniquely different in the way we learn, the way we study, the way we prepare. Know what you are. I often akin things to the turtle and the rabbit. Slow and steady. Do what is best for you. Some will learn faster, some will learn slower, but you're all in the same bucket, and you can get there. You just have to develop the ways of gaining the most out of what you're doing with what time you have to do it in. And they'll make it. FAMU wants you to make it. They're not there to make you fail or help you fail. It's exactly the opposite. They are determined to make you successful. So you have this great support network. Take advantage of that network and use your resources. So beautiful. That would be, I guess, use your resources is a big part of success. And so that's a big part of completing your pharmacy degree.
I would take that sage piece of advice myself, Stan. I'm just listening like, slow and steady. Yes, haste does make waste. So with that in mind, I'm gonna just transition right on over to Olympia Pharmacy and Pharmaceuticals. I mean, the community impact alone, but to have that kind of mindset, entrepreneurially speaking, as you continue to serve as pharmacist, consultant, entrepreneur, when we shift to think about Olympia Pharmacy and where it began back in 2009, what inspired the founding of the mission, if you will, of Olympia Pharmacy? I really want to know where the name came from, please, sir.
Okay. Well, the name, I've always been, I always have a preference for names. I've helped a lot of companies, a lot of hospitals, a lot of different people help to name it. And I always tell them the same thing. You want something more of a national thinking, not of a local thinking. And we tend to go locally. We tend to stay within our region. But what that does is it can kind of limit you to where you're going. So that's why Olympia was picked, because it's kind of an international and national way, at least within the US. Because the pharmacies I build, or the pharmacies I help build even, they're typically multi-state. They cover all of the United States. Olympia does. And so it's important that that name fits wherever you go and whatever you do. And that's where the name comes from. And what was the other part to that you were asking about?
Just wondering in terms of the founding of it, because again, you've been successful with Loomis retail
Oh,
stores or what have you. You sold those successfully, and then to launch out further into the deep, the founding, if you will. What made you make that decision?
well, I, the obvious thing is that I have learned quite a bit from there, and I knew where the need was in pharmacy. I enjoy pharmacy. I enjoy patients. I enjoy helping young people to succeed. And so I was looking for a way of providing products to people, specifically compounded sterile products that big pharma manufacturers do not make. They stop making it and they move on. It's a business. But in my view, it left patients deficient of what they should have. There are things that they need, and I provide that, and I've always provided it in a very fair way. We don't gouge in pricing. I never did that, and I wouldn't do that. I just made it so it was available to the patients. So that was really my focus in pharmacy, is to make products that were not available are available to these patients. And all I had to do was call me or any of my people that work with me, and we can come up with a way of providing what they need that's not manufactured.
Indeed. And
We
I think I was
work in the medical community and the physicians to do that.
Right. It sounds like a lot of personal care goes into play along with the innovation. And I just want to give a shout out to one of your employees. I just reached out yesterday. I went on the website. I was like, let me just really see. And I heard from Anton Versh, I think is the name, because I just shown some interest in some of the products. And I mean, he called me back right away. So now I owe him a call to the 407. So when you see Anton, tell him, yeah, he's representing Olympia in an Olympic way, if you will. So, in that regard, as relates to being able to balance innovation, Stan, along with personal care in your practice, you've kind of spoken to that. But would you share maybe just a story or two, perhaps, of where Olympia Pharmacy has made a meaningful difference in someone's life, either individually or there in the community where you're primarily located?
Well, I guess the difference is it's because we're so large now. It's hard to narrow it down to one particular patient. But I think I think that in the area of hormone wellness, this is an example. This is something a lot of people are familiar with. They can identify with it, although it's not a gigantic part of what we do, but it is a part. I remember starting out in compounding, and you use specific drugs like progesterone to help somebody trying to have a baby to hold that baby. It's a very simple solution, but modern science didn't recognize it as a benefit because it wasn't available. Only synthetic things were available. So we developed natural things that you could take, very simple, not high dosage, very easy, and they could go on to have childbirth. And that was very, very rewarding. The number of people that came to me when we supplied that sort of thing, it was really the physician doing it. The physician learned out about it, and we just give them a dose or two, and they're off and running. It's miscarriages. You want to avoid miscarriages, and that's what that was about. And that one was very, very rewarding.
And I would think continues to be rewarding because, again, as a woman, you know that, yes, we want to be able to make sure that that baby goes full term and so forth. And so that just, kind of pulls at my heartstring right there.
It goes a long way. That's when you get the most feedback on. And I've done so many things that go beyond that, but that one always gets me because they'll call me personally. And I wasn't even the pharmacist who filled it. So
think about that. And that just shows the collaboration and partnership there as relates to Olympia Pharmacy and you, Robert Stan Loomis. And, we're going to stand by you, Stan. And with that in mind, we're thinking about some industry insights and mentorship. As you've seen the pharmacy profession evolve over the years, again, proud graduate of FAMU 77. So fast forward. The college will be celebrating 75 years of its establishment next year, God say the same. So just want to talk about that a little bit. How has the role of you as pharmacist, as entrepreneur, as consultant, as husband, as just a man of his word, changed since you began your career? You've kind of alluded to it a bit, but when you see these young learners coming in now into their white coat ceremony, moving forward, what kind of vision can you potentially forecast for this area of expertise?
Well, they all have, everyone has the ability to do as well as I've done. Granted, a lot of stars have to line up, but they have the same tool that I have. And technology is probably the most difficult thing to keep up with. In today's pharmacy, you're dealing with system softwares that change depending on you're in this hospital, you're in this pharmacy, you're in this manufacturer. It's all change. It's systems, and so the technology is the hardest thing to keep up with. And then there is regulatory, what you can do, what you can't do, what we should be doing. It's a whole host of things that you keep up through organizations within the pharmacy network. I think that is probably technology is one of the things I've been the best at. I'm not a computer expert. In fact, they make fun of me over it. But I can tell you, I can tell you what works and what doesn't work, and then I can direct in the sense that we need to be able to do this. We could give better patient care if we could do this. It's all that. Make it easy for the patient, make it easy for the pharmacist, and make it so the pharmacist the pharmacist is not going to know everything. There's no way. But what they will know is how to find the answers to all those many questions that they'll get. As I grew up in pharmacy, there were no computers. I think the calculator had just come out, to give you an idea.
Texas Instrument. I remember those days. Yes.
Yeah. And so we had a lot of us had to evolve through that sort of thing. And it was very difficult when you have people that seem far more advanced technologically than you are within the profession. But every pharmacist typically work together. They trust each other, they take care of each other, and they respect each other. And that's one of the things I want to get, the messages I want to get across to students. Respect your peers. Respect everybody in the medical profession around you. And that will get you a long way. Nobody likes a sad face. Just
right, you are. Indeed.
And so to be noticed, and it's very easy to be noticed. It's not by what you say, but it's by the way you act and the way you are. Now, we can't change it. We are who we are. We're all hardwired, but we can shave off some of the edges if necessary, or add to things that would make a positive impact. There's so many things.
Indeed. Again, I would have to concur in just looking at you and your wife both being pharmacists. I'm just getting the feeling that nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And that's part of your coming back, not only for the induction ceremony into the Gallery of Distinction, but of course, serving as the keynote with the white coat ceremony. So that brings us to legacy and looking ahead, Stan. I mean, almost 50 years now. We're about to wrap up, but again, you've kind of addressed some of the challenges that independent pharmacies like Olympia face and will face moving forward, as well as how you're mentoring and supporting the next generation of pharmacists, having some of them right there in your own backyard. But when you think about the future, because I don't know how long you intend to do this, I just can feel Naomi probably wants to go on a cruise around the world somewhere. I'm just putting it out there. She can, tighten me up later on that. But, when you think of looking ahead as we're wrapping up, I'd love to hear your thoughts on legacy and the future of pharmacy. What do you hope your legacy will be in the pharmacy profession, Stan?
Well, I hope that anybody that knows me and gets to know me or works with me or works around my companies would quickly realize that we have a culture, and that culture is meant to be perpetual. You not only do it now, but you bring on people and teach them there's a culture here, how we do things or why we do things, but we're also open for improvement. So the legacy would be that I I leave a certain knowledge, a certain understanding of how things are. You don't have, and we all manage different, we all lead different, but I lead with a soft stick. I don't lead with the hard stick. I'll say it sometimes. Some people lead with a hammer, not me. That's not, and sometimes that works for people, and that's a good thing. But for me, it doesn't. And so I develop a culture within our company that makes everybody comfortable, specifically the newest and the youngest. Um, I had something on the legacy I wanted to be more specific on. I'm trying to think what that was, because a legacy can mean many things. It could mean I'm trying to build something that my family can continue on. But actually, I am. But it's more than just a family. It's all these people, hundreds of them, that work with me and for me. I want them to be able to continue on, to have the security and have the comfort in knowing I'm part of a big team. I'm part of something that's very, very good. And I do believe that will continue on. It's done it for 50 years. So I don't think it's going to stop now.
Okay, I tell you, the race is not given to the swift, Stan, but to the strong. And you've been enduring for a while here, so I can tell your excitement, your enthusiasm is contagious. But outside of work, I was throwing the cruise out there with Naomi in the background. But what really does keep you inspired and grounded? Because you got a lot going on here when you think of where you've come from since graduating from FAMU.
Oh yeah, I I have always looked at what I have done, what FAMU has directed me towards and helped me to get. I I kind of look at it as a sport. It's a
Hmm.
challenge. Every day, things are a challenge to me. They're not necessarily problems. I'm not very good at at judging problems. Every problem is a big fire, not a little fire. That's just I've been trying to break that habit for 50 years. So I approach everything pretty direct, and I won't move on to the next one until I solve this one. But it's the challenge of pharmacy, the changes, the technology, the innovations that occur. You can be part of that. It's very simple because it needs it in very simple ways. One of the key elements in our company that I brought forward that you would not think in pharmacy is engineering. Engineering is a gigantic part of our companies and what we do. And the reason for that is because you have to design different things, different ideas. You can't just come in every day and do the same thing. You say, well, what can I do to make it better? So that's where I'll leave you with that. I'm going to say something for the students.
Indeed, but I just want you to know that Dr. Florida P, he's going to enjoy your being here, of course, as you already know, along with the rest of the team. But when you said that, pharmaceutical engineering is a buzzword here at FAMU. And so, think it not strange that you put it in the atmosphere, Stan. So you're probably going to be called on even more in your consultant role. But I want to thank you for your time today. And before you go, just because you are that pharmacist who's been doing it for a while, let's just do a quick round if we can of just some rapid fire questions. Like, for example, coming into the fall and winter season, football and so forth, what is your go-to remedy for the cold and flu season? I want to know, please, sir, if you will share.
Okay, I'll give you my little secret. I re- I mean, I recommended many things, but for the cold and flu, I recommend acidophilus, which is Lactinex as a brand name. Acidophilus replaces the natural flora in your system, makes you better equipped to fight it off. Other than that, all you're doing is treating symptoms. That's all you're doing. So acidophilus is a major deal because your natural flora within your body gets off, and that does it. Very simple thing. It's over the counter, doesn't require a doctor. The difference is it's typically refrigerated. So that's how you'll know you've got the right stuff. It's live bacteria that replaces the lining of your stomach, your mouth, your intestines, so you're not so sensitive to what's going on and builds your resistance.
Well, I know the What podcast is glad to get that little secret. I'm jotting it down because sometimes
Okay. I've had a lot of people come to me and say, well, I just did that. And I said, yeah, I said, for some people it works fantastic. There are a few that doesn't work, but it does work. It does work.
Well, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And if I were to just ask, if you were not the pharmacist as successful as you are, what other career might you have pursued as relates to just doing Stan?
Well, as a much younger person, I was an entertainer for a while, but then I was going to be a pilot. All of this, the pilot, because I'm good at mathematics. That's my forte. I'm not good at very many things, but I am very, very good at that. It came natural. And so I thought, well, I'm going to apply that. And that's where the pilot came in. But then timing made it not such a popular job. So I discovered pharmacy. And my brother actually discovered it. He's 3 years older than me. He went to FAMU as well and graduated. And he's one who introduced pharmacy to me. And when I saw it and I researched it, I realized this is a fantastic career because it works for everybody, men, women, restricted hours, more out. You can do what you want. And you're not going in starting from zero. You're going in starting from a good income. And it's a very solid place to be. And that's why I think most families are very proud of their kids for making it as far as they have. And especially to the white coat ceremony, because they know they're going to be a pharmacist. But what I'm here to tell them is you can go even a lot further than that, and you'll enjoy it too. You'll find things that you enjoy in your profession. And that's where you'll tend to go. It's that quality of life you're looking for. And remember that always. If you have a good quality of life and the people around you have a good quality of life, everything is good.
Indeed. The saying comes to mind, if you love to learn what you do for a living, you'll never work a day in your life. But
exactly.
You've been working it out, Stan. And again, before we go again with the What podcast, you and Naomi coming along with the Olympia team, want to shout out to Abigail and the crew there with the PR. One lasting memory, if you would leave with our audience, because we like to think FAMU made world ready. And you're exemplifying that. But if you could just share maybe one or two little nuggets of your memories here in the pharmacy school before graduation and perhaps during that time.
Yeah. While I was at FAMU, I was young, of course. And so you see things different. I was very impressed by the professors. I had been to other schools. I had done I'd been to other universities. But when I got there, it was much more personalized than I was ever accustomed to. And I've got to hand it to the professors. They were easy to get to know, easy to approach. And they would come to you sometimes where you haven't even come to them. There was a lot of that. I don't know who it is. It must have been the culture at the time, but I was very, very impressed. They took care of me in a sense that they helped to make sure I had all the tools that I needed. It was, I don't know. I was just flabbergasted at how well I learned from that. They inspired me just by the way they were interested in making me successful. And I believe they're that way today. They're interested in making people successful. And and helping them to get to their pharmacist degree.
Wow. Well, that's a lasting impression to leave because truly you'd be excited to know that we just came off a retreat where the faculty was celebrating the theme, cultivating a culture of teaching excellence. So that mirrors what you just said, Stan. And we're looking forward because your story truly is a testament to excellence in terms of compassion and leadership. And so for your coming back and getting ready to be inducted into the Gala of Distinction for the world to see as they pass through, and you're speaking to the white coat ceremony, we are humbled and privileged to know you and your family. So again, all the best as you prepare for that next generation of FAMU pharmacists. And if you have a closing thought, now is the time here on the What Podcast.
Okay. I'm looking very forward to it. I am so humbled by it. And it is so rewarding. I just cannot imagine it. Sometimes you just can't express those things completely, but I am. You could see me walking around. I'm just
Going on there. Well, we appreciate you, the power and the purpose that you show in healthcare. And Stan, again, thank you for joining us. And we'll see you here on the highest of 7 hills, your alma mater, FAMU Pharmacy. Again, thank you so much, Robert Stan Loomis. And thank you all for listening and watching the What Podcast. Remember, share your ideas with me, Ola.Sheffield at FAMU.edu. Be sure to like, comment, and share on our social media pages. And to keep up, visit pharmacy.famu.edu. Until the next time, be kind to one another and stay wise, but not in your own eyes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.